Are you longing to feel connected and not so alone? Longing to be happy and more alive? Badass Counseling is excited to announce the creation of Community Plus, a subscription-based private group of folks just wanting to more closely share their soul journey together with like-minded folks and with me, Sven. For a monthly fee, you'll get bi-monthly live Q&As with me, Sven, giving you a better chance of getting your own questions answered. A private community feed for you to post pictures, successes, struggles, joys, even the occasional cat picture, creating greater connection and help for healing and growth. Random drawings for free small group sessions and drawings for private coaching sessions with me. Priority access to becoming a guest on the Badass Counseling Show podcast. Unlimited access to my DIY video courses, Healing the Soul and Unleashing Your Greatness. And so much more. Community Plus is for people serious about their soul journey who want real growth, real help, real laughter, real connection, and true community. Join us now at badasscounseling.com.
From the New York City area, welcome to the Badass Counseling Show, where the master badass himself, Sven Erlandson, takes you deep and gives balm for the soul, baby.
Hello. You have reached the Badass Counseling Show. It's great to have you here. Whether you are checking in from Croatia, Louisiana, Romania, or Summerton, South Carolina, it's so great having you here joining us for a lightning round episode where we take all questions on all things that might be of help to you. We are live presently on YouTube, Facebook, and TikTok. I am joined in studio by my favorite people, KC in the booth, and Rob the Rocket sitting next to me. Hello, Rob the Rocket.
You're our favorite too, Sven.
Oh,
so
shucks.
It's quite even, back and forth. Yes, it's good.
And so, how's your week so far, Rob?
If I was any happier, I could just shit, but I'm okay.
Wow, how about that? A little salty there, a little,
just a little
persnickety today.
It seems to be de rigueur for this show.
Okay, there we go. So we're going to get started here. We've got people firing in their questions. Lickety split here. I've got the first one coming at me from Trevor Ellis over on TikTok. Trevor says, I love my girlfriend, but my friends and family say she doesn't do enough for me, that she is lazy chore. That's what it says. I'm reading it as it lies, folks. There's no question there, Trevor. So I'm not sure what your question is, but your struggle is real and obvious. You are caught between a girlfriend you love and your friends and family saying she doesn't do enough for me. And so what would be really interesting is if I would ask you is, so what are you struggling with most? But it's kind of, you don't know what to do. You don't know what to feel. And very often when we're in love, we don't always see sometimes the stuff that's going on, or we don't want to see, or we're happy to have love. Though it has been argued by some people that when we are in love, we actually do see a person for who they are, even if others see something else. And some people say, well, you don't see them until after you're out of the relationship. But some say, you actually see them, that a person is first seen when they are loved. But you'd be wise in your own journaling. I'd recommend getting a pad of paper and a pen and write down, what are your friends and family seeing? And write those things down. And then ask yourself, if you want to, and you don't have to do this, Trevor, and write down those things. So let's just say, she doesn't do enough for me, okay? And they say that she doesn't help me out, and she, is only asking for things and so forth. And then write those down so you've got them on paper, so it's not just in your head, and then begin to watch for those and see if it's actually confirmed in her actions. Now, the truth is, you may not want to actually do this, Trevor. You may not want to see this. You may not want to do this experiment. And then if that's your reaction to my even suggesting it, then you've got to ask yourself the question, well, why wouldn't I want to do this? See, now you're covering up evidence. And it's okay if you don't want to. There's no shame in that. But you really got to ask the question, what is it about this evidence that I might not want to see? If it's true, why would I not want to see it? Now you're basically saying, because I love her so much, I don't want to believe that there might be something bad about her, that she's mistreating me. That means you're potentially hanging on to someone, even if you know or even if you discover that she's not good for me, or that she is taking advantage of me, or that she's a user, or that she's, an extreme taker, something like that. In other words, I want to avoid the truth. And that says, I so desperately need someone that I'll even let me mistreat them. I don't even want to see what the truth about the person must be. Now you've got some of your own shit going on inside you from your past, that you're in such a desperate situation that I have to hold on to someone. I don't even want to look at what the facts may be. So if you can engage in this little exercise of just write it on a pad of paper, just write out for yourself. You don't have to tell anyone else that you're doing this. Just do it for yourself. Write down the specific exact things in one sentence or less, like 4 bullet points, 4 sentences, or 6, whatever they say. Well, they say she's lazy. They say she doesn't help me with things. They say she always expects me to pay for everything. They say, or whatever it is, and write them down, and then just stick that somewhere where no one can find it. And then just keep an eye out and watch it for the next month and see if it's true. And if it is true, well, then you've got a separate question to ask yourself, and that is, am I okay with this? And maybe you are, but maybe you're not. But in the end, only one person can decide in the end whether or not you're going to be in a relationship with this person, and that's you. But the truth is, if you don't want to look at the evidence, or you don't even want to play with this experiment, that means you're hiding from the truth, which means you're holding on to a person at the expense of the truth, which means you've got some shit going on inside of you that started happening long before this person came inside your life, and you're living in fear of not having someone to love you. Next question. Here we go. Paul, we're getting questions from the men. This is great. Paul over on Facebook says, as an extreme taker in therapy, I have changed a lot, but I'm currently separated from my wife, and I can't show her I changed. What do I do? Well, that's a tricky little one, isn't it? The mere fact that you've changed a lot and she can't see it tells me that in part you're wanting to change, in part you're wanting to see it to get her back. So my first question, I'm not trying to be a dick here, Paul, okay? I'm not. You asked a straight question. I'm giving you a straight answer. If you were one of my clients, and anybody who is one of my clients knows that this is the sort of shit I would say in counseling, and you're going to be like, wait, people pay you to say that shit to them? It's like, don't ask for, I do it in love though. All right. The simple fact is, the fact that you're wanting her to see it causes me to think, are you making these changes because you want her back or because you want to change? And if I'm making changes because I want someone back, it's sales. I'm selling. It's a sales technique, which means I am inclined to not fully trust the change. It's like when people say, well, my kid is estranged. My 34-year-old kid pushed me away. They don't want anything to do with me. Sven, how do I get my kid back? And I teach them all the things they can do to help their child heal. But I can't guarantee it's going to bring the child back. But your goal can't be to get the child back. The goal has to be to help your child heal. And you can't control whether or not to get it back. And maybe they'll do this stuff, but deep down, they're doing it to try to get the child back. Well, then you're not really engaged in the process of healing. And if you sort of go to the child and say, the adult child, and say, can you forgive me, for instance, versus I'm sorry and you don't have to forgive me. You don't ever have to forgive me. Those are two different things. Because saying, can you forgive me, means I'm doing it for me. There's something in it for me. I have an agenda that benefits me somehow, versus you don't have to give me anything. I owe you an apology. I hurt you. I let you down. I undermined you. I whatever, betrayed you. Now I'm doing it for you. So there's an authenticity there. So Paul, when I'm asking, did you do these changes because you wanted to win her back? And there's nothing wrong with wanting your wife back. But the real question is, what would you still do these changes if there were zero chance of getting your wife back? Now that's the question. Would you still do it if there were zero chance? And the truth is, a lot of people who have been left by a spouse, or a lot of people who are separated or whatever, would say, no, I wouldn't. Okay, then you're just doing it. Then it's fundamentally a tool of manipulation. I'm just doing it, and I'm only going to sustain it until I get you back, or until I've got you back under my thumb, or as long as it takes to basically get what I want. I'm creating a scenario. I'm creating a set of circumstances. I'm fucking play acting to get what I want. And that's not cool, right? And I think you can probably see that. However, let's assume that your intent is good. All right? Let's assume that. I have no reason to think otherwise, Paul. But it sucks. I'm making these changes genuinely, Sven, but I can't show her. Let it go, Paul. Let it go. And trust. Trust. Now, whether you're a God person or not, it's not trusting God. It's just trust life. that if it, and I know this sounds dopey, but if it's meant to be, it'll happen. Which means part of when we've pushed someone to walk away from us, we have to let go. This person chose to separate themselves from you. And you can want it, and sometimes we try to coerce it to make it happen, and we try to cross their paths. Or, I've done that before. I had a woman that I was so in love with. This was like 15 years ago. And I knew when she got off work, and I would just sort of be out for a walk on that day, and I knew her way home, right? I was back in my 40s, right? I was so smitten. And it's just like, Sven, just fucking let it go, man. Just let it go. And it's hard when you want love. It's fucking hard. This isn't just 20-year-olds that have it hard letting go of love. It's all of us, any age. 20, 50, 70, it's any age. Okay. And so the thing is, you got to let it go, which means you have to be working on your journaling, Paul, letting go, writing her letters. And it's the love that's causing you to hold on. And it's wanting her, and it's wanting something from her. And it's the fear of not having her, Paul. So you need to be journaling on your fear, on your love, on your longing. You got to be journaling on all that shit and flushing it out, writing her letters that you don't send. Telling her how much you love her, how angry you are, all those things, flushing, because you may never get to show her how you've changed. So you got to begin to let go. Why? Because in the end, and this is going to sound corny to a lot of people, but I really believe this. In the end, we do not choose love. Love chooses us. And I don't mean the other person chooses us. I mean like fucking Cupid shit. Love as an entity, as a force, chooses us. We don't choose love. Love chooses us. The God, the universe decides. You can have someone in front of you who has a great resume, who is a wonderful person. And I use resume, so to speak. Wonderful person, attractive, funny, whatever your things are, but you just don't feel the click. It's just not there. Or maybe they don't feel the click for you, even though you like them. It's just, if it's not right, it's not right. And so your wife, at least, or your ex or whatever, at present, it's not time. And so you have to let it go. And then you got to ask the question, am I doing these changes for me or simply to win the person back? If I'm doing it to win a person back, I'm just selling. It's manipulation. But when you're doing changes not to sell, but because I genuinely want it, that's when you'll know you're really changing. All right, next question.
Got to have both going on at the same time.
Both what and what?
Both wanting to change and wanting to get them back for the right reasons.
Right. Yeah, and wanting to get someone back. That's actually a great point, Rob. Wanting to get something back is like wanting something from your career, wanting the next career success, or you have to and I talk about it in my book, There's a Hole in My Love Cup. I talk about it as living with an open hand. And to live with an open hand means this is real master level shit. It's to simultaneously want something and let it go at the same time. Simultaneously. That you have things that you aspire to and you truly want, and you're going after those, but you're simultaneously letting go of it. That means you're allowing for the infusion of God or the universe or the gods to expand it, to take it, to move, give you some new inspiration in a new direction. I mean, I started the business many years ago, and my original vision was X, and then X became X plus 3. Then X plus 3 became X plus 3 divided by Y squared. And then it became this and that, and then I let go of the whole thing, and then it became this other thing over here. And new inspirations, and it's allowing for the movements and the flow of life. And so it's simultaneously wanting a person back while allowing that for the possibility that maybe this one is done. When my first wife divorced me, it took me years, 2-3 years to get over that. And I thought I would never have anyone as great as her, and I would never be that happy. And then eventually my second wife came around, and I'm like, oh my God, this is fucking unbelievable. It's even better, but in so many different ways. Not that she's a better person, it's just better for what I had evolved into. And an amazing person, et cetera, et cetera. Again, not a better or worse person, just different. And then when that ended, and then probably 10 years went by, and I fell in love, fell out of love, but whatever. And then this relationship I've been in for the last 11 years, best relationship I've ever been in my life. Things must die for things to live, and things change and grow and evolve. But if I had just clung so tightly to that one relationship way back there, oh my God, she's a terrific woman and mother of my kids. And, we get along fine. It was 30 years ago, but I think she and I would both agree. It's like, oh God, what a blessing that life goes on, All right, next question.
I like talking about the Cupid shit. as you would say.
Why do you say that, Rob? You're a somewhat
Because-
semi-religious guy. Why the Cupid shit?
Well, it's not nothing to do with religion. I think I don't want to be corny and pedantic here, but love is all you need when you're getting ready to leave this earth. You think about love. You think, who did I love? Who loved me? You don't think about, gee, I wish I'd spent more time at the office.
Yeah.
That's real. That's the bottom line, as you would say.
And there are those two great lines. One is from, of course, the Beatles on their final album. What was the White Album, right?
Abbey Road.
Abbey Road. And in the end, the love you
Take
is equal to
the love you make.
Right. And then one that's even better, that I think is even better, though that is such a poetic piece, is the other one from the Moody Blues, that all the love you've been given has all been meant for you.
Yeah, that's right.
All the love that you've been giving has all been meant for you.
Why do we never get an answer?
Right. And the name of the song is The Question.
Question.
Yeah. If you've never listened to that song by the Moody Blues, go and listen to The Question. All right, let's get on to the next question.
I got a question from Louise on YouTube, Sven.
All right, Louise, what do you got for me?
She says, I'm having a hard time to stop cycling through negative thoughts as I am going through an incredibly hard time. How do I just let go of the frustration of the hard times and get on with what needs to be done? I am aware that wallowing gets me nowhere, but the depression, the thoughts take over.
No. Wallowing gets you everywhere. You're not wallowing enough, or you're not wallowing in the right way, Louise. Okay? I'm not scolding. I'm just saying that so many people think you need to just let go. You need to just push forward. And one of the things I talk about in my book, There's a Hole in My Love Cup, is that trying to force yourself to let go doesn't accomplish anything. It doesn't. You can't force yourself to let go. I remember at the end of that first marriage, everyone was saying, well, you just got to let go. It's like, how? How? Right? And so the notion of, you just got to move on and push forward, as I talk about in the book, the soul is more powerful than the will. So you can say, well, I need to just willpower my way through this hard stuff. No, you can't. But if the soul is trying to pull you down into the depression, into the wallowing, it's going to pull you down. No amount of willpower eventually. And I get the most powerful of willpower people: soldiers, special forces, owners of businesses, fierce women, ferocious men with massive willpower, where life is finally caught up to them, where they can't fake it anymore. Their soul is calling them down. Why? Calling them down into the depression. Why? Depression is the soul calling you down to heal, finally. It's just that you're not doing it in the best way possible. The goal isn't to go down there and just perseverate, to just have your brain go and go and go. It's to go down and to begin to flush out. So what was it? Was it frustration she's wrestling with, Rob?
She says, how do I let go of the frustration of the hard times and get on with what needs to
you
be
let
done?
go by going into the frustration of the hard times. By going in, by holding on to it tighter, eventually the grip gets tired. So you go in, you begin to write out all the hard times that you remember. Write out all the feelings associated with those hard times. And you think, God, I could write a book. I'd never stop writing. Yes, you will. It will end. But the problem is you're trying to get away from it, and it keeps nipping at your heels. It keeps biting you in the ass. You're trying to run away, and it's biting at you. But you have to go into it. It's saying, I'm not going to let you get away from it. You haven't been able to let it go. You haven't been able to pull yourself out of it. That is your soul calling you down to finally heal by discharging it. You can't just run from this shit, you guys. Whether it's depression, or let's say you're holding on to a lover that you just can't let go of, right? You have to discharge the feelings and the memories. Remember, you have these memories that have emotional charges, right? The memory is of these events, and they have emotional charges attached to them, like electrons spinning around a nucleus. And so you have to remove those emotional charges so that now it's just a memory. I have a memory from yesterday morning when I drove by Five Guys hamburger place. And I drove by Five Guys because it's right next to where I get my newspaper on Sunday mornings. I drove by Five Guys. And you know what? I have no emotional charge attached to driving by Five Guys. None. Literally none. It's just a random memory that I have. Now, if a guy had come running out of Five Guys and comes running across and hit my car with his fist and flip me off, I might have an emotional charge to that memory of driving by Five Guys, of anger at that guy. But nobody came running out and hit my car with his fist. No emotional charge. It's just a memory. Okay. You have memories that have emotional charges, not the least of which is frustration, Louise. Therefore, what you need to do is go into those memories. You need to be journaling them out or talking out with your fucking therapist but journaling is just so much faster and it saves you a bunch of dough. And going down into it, writing about those memories and what is the most frustrating part? Why am I feeling frustrated? What scares me about it? What other feelings are attached to it? Writing, going back into it tomorrow or 4 days from now or a week and a half from now, continuing to flush, because there's so much emotional charge there, Louise. There's so much that it's pulling you into a depression. So it's more than just one event. You've got a lot there. And the more you discharge that and flush it, then you'll naturally come out of it. You won't have to force yourself to let go of anything. You'll naturally come out of the depression. This is how we deal with anything. Loss of love, loss of a marriage, death of a dream, death of a family member, is you have to discharge all of the pain, the fears, and the bullshit beliefs you've been taught about yourself. Next question.
By the way, Louise wrote one word, and it's grief.
Grief. Oh, yeah, for sure. It's fascinating that you have frustration tied to grief. Got to admit, that's interesting. Why would you have frustration tied with grief unless you lost something that you still want, which does make sense with grief? Yeah, and a lot of people, and this is very common, Louise, a lot of people don't want to touch the feelings of grief, which sort of dovetails into why as a former pastor, though I still do some funerals and some weddings, why I was never a big fan. You guys have heard me say this before. Never a big fan of the whole idea of a celebration of life. And when somebody's died, I mean, I do them if somebody wants them, but I'm more of a funeral guy. I believe in funerals. I believe in a death experience and, celebration of life, fine, but you still have to have the funeral. You still have to have the sad part. You can't rush to the happy part. Why? People need a permission to and a public event of permission to grieve. Louise, you're trying to run from the grief. Grief is a natural feeling, emotion, whether it was the death because somebody died or a death of a dream or death of a relationship, death of a geography, death of your health, whatever has died or is dying, you have so much emotion inside of you that it has to come out. It has to come out. That is the body's natural response. I just came from a 3-hour session with a client just this afternoon. And she's grieving the death of a marriage, right? I actually have several clients going through deaths of a marriage right now. And this particular one dealing with a lot of grief. And she's allowing herself to purge that pain. And you have to allow yourself to grieve, folks. Guess why? Because if you don't, that shit's going to eat you the fuck up. Nothing will tear your flesh like grief that goes unpurged. And not only is the crying good for you and the raging good for you, but you have to give it words, people. You have to give it words. Words. Did you write poetry back in college or growing up and you liked it? Write poetry then. Do you like writing songs? Maybe silly. Write songs. Do you like writing letters? Write letters. Get a fucking pen and paper, write journals, but your feelings have to be put into words. That's how we get it out of us. It's not enough to simply have the physical experience of crying or going running to flush the energy out of you or getting a workout. It's not enough. It requires the words. All right, next question. What have we got here, people? All right.
We got some community going on online, talking back and forth. So why don't you talk a little bit about Community Plus?
Community Plus, we have a community of 45,000 people. We've had so many people saying, hey, Sven, why don't you have a group of some sort? We have a group on Facebook. It's totally free called the Badass Counseling Group. All right, we started it about a year ago-ish. And there's a feed and people post all sorts of stuff, sort of encouraging each other and so forth. And we're real proud of that. And we have moderators that monitor that. However, what we found on that is that we had people wanting, that whole group was supposed to be based on the book for people who had read the book, There's a Hole in My Love Cup. We didn't make a requirement. We just encouraged it. For people who wanted sort of a higher level experience of interacting with people who were taking their self work seriously, all right? But we didn't require it. So there are a lot of people in there who are just starting, who have never read the book, who have no interest in the book or whatever, but people who are just starting their self-work, people who have been in counseling for years, etc. It's all comers, just people coming together to support each other. And sometimes people get salty. We've had to throw some people out of the book or out of the group when they're not being nice. But anyway, we had a bunch of people saying, but I want sort of next level. And so we created a smaller group. It's capped at maximum 1,000. We're not near that yet. It's much more intimate, but it'll never be 40,000. And it's on the website, badasscounseling.com. And it's for people who have read the book and all sorts of other books. And there's a feed, and there are free do-it-yourself video courses that I have made. There's monthly drawings every month for small group counseling with me, drawings every month for one-on-one counseling with me. There's priority pass access to get on, be considered to get on the show for counseling with me. Priority pass access if you want regular one-on-one counseling to jump right to the head of the waiting line, all sorts of stuff. Great opportunities for a monthly fee. You can get become a member of Community Plus. That's at badasscounseling.com.
This show provides soul counseling intended to entertain and inform and is not medical advice. Now, back to the badass.
We are back, and this is the Badass Counseling Show. This is a live taping of the Badass Counseling Show. This will be later edited and then air as the Badass Counseling Show podcast on Spotify, Audible, Apple, iHeart Radio, and so much more. I've got a question here from Jessica on Facebook who writes in, why is it when a guy cheats on you, the guy blames you? Okay. A few things here, Jessica. Women do that too. And in fact, I actually wrote a book, it's out of print now, on female infidelity, believe it or not. And one of the most underreported and under-researched phenomena in human relationships is female infidelity, believe it or not. Anyway, so I'm going to take the guy aspect out of it and just say, why is it when some people cheat on you, they blame you? First of all, not everyone blames the other person. It is quite common. But why do they blame you? Because it's far easier to blame you than to take accountability for their actions. Because they want to justify my being bad. I just cheated on you, and rather than say I shouldn't have done it, I'm going to say you made me do it. That's why. Because I don't want to fucking own it. I don't want to be responsible for the fact that I just did something bad. It's far easier to blame you. And the crazy part is that sometimes if the other person, so let's say someone's now blaming me for them cheating on me, if I have low self-esteem, I might actually start to believe them, which is a crock of shit. Someone cheating on me and then blaming me, it's like, no. I don't care what, if I cheated on you, that's a different deal. But let's say I didn't, okay? Let's say you just decided to fucking cheat and you're going to say, oh, because you didn't meet my needs or you didn't blah, 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 or our marriage, this and that, or, we've been cold to each other for years and it's your fault. And my response now, as the guy who's been counseling people for 35 years, and I'm literally a specialist in cheating. One of the things that I specialize in is infidelity. And one of the things I say is, do you know that there are actually people who have whatever you're being accused of, the person who cheated on you, whatever it is they're accusing you of, do you know that there are literally people who are living through the exact same thing that your cheater is saying they're living through with you, who choose differently? It's like there's a whole basket. Imagine there's a basket of possibilities. In this basket, there are little pieces of paper, and on all those little pieces of paper are written all these different options. There's the option of talk it out with the other person. There's the option of just divorce them rather than cheat. There's the option of go into therapy. There's the option of start drinking heavily. There's the option of I'm going to take up running. There's the option of I'm going to become a workaholic. There's so many options in that basket. There are lots of actually healthy options too. Like, gee, I'm going to start working less so I have more time for our relationship. All sorts of options in that basket when things are going wrong in this relationship. But your partner reached into that basket and picked out the one, oh, where's that one? Oh, there it is. It's the one that says cheat. Yes. Yes, I'm going to choose to cheat. When plenty of people going through the exact same set of circumstances reach into that basket and choose a different option. Choose the option of therapy. Choose the option of slowing down their own life so that they can improve their marriage. So for them to blame you is a specious argument. Looks good on the surface, but it's bullshit because plenty of other people have a spouse doing the same thing and they don't blame their spouse because they know it's a bullshit argument. So you ask, why is it when a person cheats on you, they blame you because they don't want to fucking own it? They're a coward, fundamentally. If you're going to cheat, at least have the decency to end the relationship first. Just end the relationship and try to blame the other person. Really, you fucking coward? Man or woman, just fucking own your shit. But no, it's easier to blame the other person. And the truth is, if they're going to try to blame the other person, they're doing it because they know they got a chance of getting away with it. Which means they know that they got you bent over the rail to some degree emotionally. They know they can pull it off because they know they have power over you. And that's the unfortunate part, that I've been eating their shit long enough that they know to some degree that they can fuck with me. And so Jessica, the guy who's been blaming you, knew that either whether it is happening or it did happen, he knows that he could fuck with you and that you would believe him rather than say, bullshit, don't blame me for the bad shit you did. I mean, that's like saying, yeah, I robbed that bank, but hey, it was their fault. Well, that's just fucking stupid. Yeah, it's their fault. Yeah, oh no, that makes total fucking sense. No, but somehow you are believing it rather than just saying, no. The mere fact that you're trying to figure out why is it says that you're trying to find head or tail out of it. Like, why is he blaming me? I wish he'd stop blaming me. This isn't fair. In other words, you're wanting him. You're not only wanting him to stop blaming you, you're wanting him. And which tells me also you're focused on the wrong thing. You're focused on wanting someone who has cheated on you rather than just flat out saying, there is no question. Get the fuck out of my life. A, you cheated on me, and B, you're trying to blame me. You're gone, man. Right? And the mere fact that you're trying to figure out why he's doing it says a part of you still wants to be in the relationship. And or a part of you is grieving why it happened and you're still trying to figure it out. As if you're trying to figure out, what did I do wrong? Or B, what do we need? What can be fixed here? Or what needs to happen to maybe try to get him back? But a part of you is still in that relationship and either A, considering that it might be you, or B, you really, part of you is sort of keeping him in your life. I'm guessing on that one. Part of me is sort of hunching that. Otherwise, why would you even be asking this question? That a part of you, I think, believes him. And it's just bullshit, Jessica. All right, next question.
Can you get an amen? Yeah, amen.
Amen. All right. Okay, Devil Blues in Romania asks the question, hi, what can I do regarding a friend who always has emotionally charged reactions to accountability? Yeah, that's not good. That's like, in a way, that's like Jessica's fucking husband or boyfriend. That's someone who doesn't want to own their shit, Devil Blues. If someone, you say, what can you do? There's only, to be very, very honest, the one thing you must do, Devil Blues, is keep calling this person out. You have a friend who always has emotional charged reactions to accountability. Keep calling them out and don't back down, because they are hoping by their getting emotionally charged somewhere in them. The hope is, whether they're aware of it or not, that if by them being charged, you'll back down, that at some point you will dislike the emotional charge, you will dislike their anger, and that you'll stop calling them out, right? And if you do stop, they win. If you do stop, they got you. Now they got you bent over the rail. Now they can start being unaccountable. You cannot back down from holding people accountable for how they treat you in life, people. And this is never more true than in your closest relationships, friendships, lovers, family. You have to hold people accountable for how they treat you. Why? Because we teach people how to treat us, but more importantly, small things become big things. People don't start out as extreme takers. People don't start out by punching you in the face. People don't start out by stealing your money. No, they start out in small things, like not owning or not apologizing or not following through on promises. It always starts small. It may not start in the beginning. It may start the day after the wedding. It may start a year in. It may start 6 years into the relationship, but it always starts small. And guess what? The further you're into the relationship, the less inclined you're going to be to call out a small thing. It's going to be like, oh, it's no big deal. I'm sure it was a one-off. I'm sure it'll go away. Oh, I like him so much. I'll help him change. No, none of those are true. If you won't call it out, especially when it's small, you are fundamentally, if the first time you don't call it out, you are fundamentally saying that's okay, which means you're giving it permission for a second time. Once they do it the second time, you've now begun a pattern here, people. Right. And once it's small, then it'll get big and big and bigger. And then guess what? Then you're fucked. All right, next question. Oh, this is a good one. Jill, I'm sorry, I'm not laughing at you. That's just, I love your question. Here on TikTok, Jill says, I'm dating a guy, not friends on Facebook, yet he blocked me. Actually, you put a question mark at the end of that. Dating a guy, not friends on Facebook, yet he blocked me? Do I call him out? If you want to spend your time calling out someone who blocked you, sure. I would literally actually say, hey, why'd you block me on Facebook? Sure. Or you can save yourself the time and walk away. Rob, what do you think of that? I want to hear what Rob has to say about this one.
I'm sure that he has nothing at all to hide.
Right. What's he hiding? I mean, the mere fact that he's literally blocking you before anything's happened. You know what? Okay, so I've asked Rob. Now I'm going to ask the peanut gallery. Anyone want to weigh in on this one? I'm going to read it out. Jill, I'm not mocking you in any way. Your spirit is in the right place, and you are asking the exact right question, Jill.
And I feel really bad for her.
I do too, Jill. This is fuckery, all right? But I'm going to ask the team here, all right? Everyone, Jill says in good faith, she's asking an honest question. So kindly give your honest opinions, guys. Jill is dating a guy. They're not friends on Facebook, yet he blocked me. Do I call him out? Anybody? Gizmo says, run. Jenny Sue says, bye. Farrell says, run with exclamation points. Lana says, walk away because it's time playing both sides and hiding that you two are together. It's him playing both sides and hiding that you two are. Oh, that's right. Hiding that you two. So it's not necessarily that he doesn't want you to see something, but it could be that he's hiding you or both. Christy Robbins says yes. Kat Elkin says sewage. Christy Robbins says call him out if you need to. Terry Diaz says don't bother with it. Tammy Fuchs says run. Maya says no, move on. Marissa says he's probably hiding something. And Luna Stone says, if he blocked you, then it feels like he's already hiding something. I would leave. So there you got it, Jill.
So you're saying that you still have a chance.
Yeah. So you're saying I still have a chance? Anyway, so there you get it. That's not from me. That's from everybody else. All right. Thanks, guys, for weighing in on that one. That's honest opinions. Collective Genius seems intent on saying, what did she do? What did she do? What? To be blocked on Facebook while dating a guy? I don't know. She stabbed his dog. I mean, what do you mean? What did she do to be blocked on Facebook?
You have to ask yourself in any relationship, any couple, if one person has a lot of secrets and the other person has none, something's wrong.
Right. And Jill, okay, let's ask a straight question. Jill, have you blocked him on Facebook? Okay. I wish you the best says I blocked my boss. Yeah, that's a separate situation, isn't it? And what's interesting is some businesses nowadays will ask for they'll want to see your social media accounts, which to me is a little bit whatever. But anyway, it's a different world nowadays. That's why I don't work for anyone. Okay, so Jill says, I'm seeing him this weekend. Do I do it in person? Do you want to? If you want to, then do it. But you know what? Just put it straight out on there on the table. I notice you have blocked me on Facebook. If you want to say it in person, or do it by fucking, text. You got a lot of people saying, just walk away now because it's going to be bullshit. But if you want to say it in person, Jenny Sue is saying, don't even go. And Gizmo is saying, I wouldn't do it in person. He's going to gaslight you. I wish you the best says, make sure you see him in person. He pay. Oh, right. That's boss stuff right there. All right. Next question.
Sven, on YouTube, Ryan says, do you have any advice when an ex-wife is taking love from the kids instead of giving love for the kids? It's causing me all sorts of problems. The example is alienating the kids from me. When I have my visitation, she's consistently texting and calling them and giving them a guilt trip that they're spending time with their dad.
Yeah, that's not okay. And I've lived through some of that. So the original question is
Any advice when an ex-wife is taking love from the kids instead of giving them love?
Yeah, that's not okay. That's not okay. And you guys have heard me say it before, that parents exist for children. Children don't exist for parents. Parents exist to pour love into the love cup of the child. Children do not exist to pour love into the love cup of the parent. They don't, period. And if they choose to do it later in life, when the parent is elderly, it's optional. It's not required. Okay. And so in this case where the parent, the mom, the children are with the father, and the mom is constantly texting them and wanting attention and so forth, she's saying, you spend too much time with your dad and shit like that.
Yeah, she's trying to make them feel bad they're spending time with their father.
Right. And it could be that it's not just that she wants love from them, but she's trying to undermine the relationship between the father and the children, right? Isn't that what he's saying? Right. And that's not okay. And the simple fact of the matter is, when the children are on the father's time, he has a right to take their phones away. Just take their phones away. Back when my children were young, my son was dating someone in the state next to ours. And he was seeing her, and his grades were fine. His performance in school, everything was fine. So I said, sure, you can date this girl. And so I drove him over there to date. And his mother had a real issue with that. And I said, when my son is on my time, I can take him to the moon if I want. I don't need your clearance or your permission. When he is on your time, you could take him to the moon if you want. All right? And so the truth is, Dad, you have every right. If you want to take away their phones when they're on your time, you have every right to do that. You're going to suffer blowback from her, but you got to be willing to stand up for that. But in the end, you are just as much the parent as she is. And you do not have to endure any parent undermining your parenting of your children. That's not okay. Your children need you as much as they need the other parent, period. You have every right to stand up for how much your children need you. You not only have a right, they need you to stand up for their access to you. And it's ripping them in two, right? They want to be with you as much as they want to be with their mother when they're on their mom's time. They want to be with you as much as you want to be with them, all right? Your children need to be with you, and they want to be with you. And it's your obligation to protect their time with you, because regardless of how you feel, they need that time with you. They need that love from you. They need to be able to give you their attention. They need to be able to receive your attention and your love. And it's your job to protect that, Dad. 100%. They need you, man. Make it happen. Whatever slings and arrows you have to endure, make it the fuck happen. Your kids love you. They adore you. All right? They want your love. You can do this shit. All right. Next one. Here we go. T. Shell on TikTok says, my mom and sister always put me in the middle of their drama. How do I tell them to stop? Let me ask you this question, T. Shell. Why not just step out of the middle? Why not just tell them guys can have all the drama you want, but I am not going to be in the middle? In other words, aren't you, and I don't know more than what you've told me here, so aren't you fundamentally telling the wrong people to stop? Shouldn't you be telling yourself to stop? In other words, saying the second they start telling you their own side of it, just say, I got to go. I'm not going to listen to this anymore. In other words, you have to draw the boundary. By saying, how do I tell them to stop? You're asking them to draw a boundary on what they say to you. And I'm saying you need to draw the boundary on what you allow them to say to you. Do you see? It's a nuanced difference. Do you see the difference? So if they start, saying, well, your mom, blah, 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 or your sister, blah, blah, blah. No, I'm not going to listen. You have to draw the boundary rather than expect them to. And you also have to assume, and this is the part you don't like, they're not going to like it. Why? Because you've never had boundaries before. This is the thing about boundaries. They suck. people don't want you to have boundaries. If you've never had boundaries before, people don't want you to have boundaries. They think you aren't entitled to boundaries. You don't get to have them. Wait, boundary with me? You've never had a fucking boundary with me. Who the fuck do you think you are having a boundary with me? No. And they're going to get mad at you. And they're going to use their power and their anger and their rage and their confrontation, which clearly you haven't wanted in the past, which is why you never had a boundary in the past. Because you didn't want the confrontation of setting one the fuck up, right? So you're going to have to risk that confrontation, and there will be confrontation, to fundamentally reinforce your boundary, because they are not going to magically stop themselves. You have to stop them, which means you're going to have to endure them not liking you. That's the price of you reinforcing your own boundaries and your own peace. Your own peace has to matter enough to you that you're willing to risk them not liking you, and they're not going to like you. So my question to you is, does your peace matter to you? How badly does your peace matter to you? Are you willing to risk them not liking you and them being mad at you? And if you aren't willing to risk that, your peace doesn't matter enough to you. But once you make that decision that I'm willing to have them not like me, potentially for the first time in your life, you are finally choosing you. You're finally choosing you over your mother and over your sister. And that's when you start racking up the victories. That is a victory. That is a scoring of self. That is you finally saying, God damn it, I matter. Next question. Tracy asks a similar question, slightly different, but similar. Tracy on TikTok asked the question, how do you defend yourself when you are constantly being accused of a lying, but you give proof you're not? And Tracy, I want to tell you the truth. The mere fact that you are asking this question says that you have been through this ringer quite a few times, haven't you? In fact, you say it. How do you defend yourself when you are constantly is the word. So this is incessant. It's just constant, right? Okay. How do you defend yourself when you are constantly being accused of a lying, and that I'm just reading it as it reads, of a lying, but you give proof you're not? How do you defend yourself? You stop. You're asking the wrong question, Tracy. You're still trying to defend yourself when this person is constantly doing this. In other words, no matter what you say, they don't fucking believe you. It doesn't matter what proof you have, Tracy. They are saying, fuck you. Doesn't matter what you do. Yet you still think you can convince them of your innocence. Even when you have proof. This says that their shit has nothing to do with you, Tracy. Nothing. This is about their own shit from the past. I mean, unless you like fucking really wounded them in the past, or, you know, betrayed all their trust in the past, but even so, you're still trying to win their trust back. That's a possibility. But in the end, you're still asking the wrong question. In the end, the only question that matters is, even if we've hurt someone in the past, if you are continually having to defend yourself and prove you're telling the truth, prove it, guess what happens? Eventually you get tired. Eventually you get sick of it. And you know what you do? You say, fuck this shit, I'm out of here. But you still believe that if you do something just right, they'll believe you. And they keep constantly accusing you. They're never going to believe you. Doesn't matter what you do. And you're asking, how do you defend yourself? There is no way. They don't want to believe you. You don't understand. It's not about your evidence or the right argument. They just don't want to believe you. So Tracy, you are fucked. That's all. You're fucked. You're trying to defend yourself to someone who has no interest in believing you. And at some point, you're going to have to walk away because you're just going to get more and more exhausted. All right. I'm going to take, I believe, one more. All right. Here we go. I'm going to take this one. This is from Janet on Facebook. I believe I've received a $5,000 fine for a $5 crime. I'm in the parent, quote unquote, parent shoes as a co-parent to my niece in her 30s. Okay. Is that possible? She says, she expressed some grievances. I took full ownership, but feeling punishment. Less time together, fewer phone calls, even though she expressed tearful gratitude that I was completely accountable. All right. You don't really ask a question, but you say, I believe I've received a $5,000 fine for a $5 crime. I'm in the quote unquote parent shoes as a co-parent to my niece in her 30s. Is that possible? She expressed some grievances. I took full ownership, but feeling punishment, less time together, fewer phone calls, even though she expressed tearful gratitude that I was completely accountable. Don't really express a question except, is this possible? And so you're feeling shitty, right? And I suppose you're wondering sort of what to do, right, Jan? Bottom line is you can't do a goddamn thing. This is what people got to understand about apologies and relationships and forgiveness and so forth. In the end, if there's been a breach in a relationship or if you've hurt someone, all you can do is apologize for what you've done. Own it. I mean, not just say the fucking words and, oh, I'm so sorry, but we need to get over it, move on now. That's a bullshit apology, right? But really own your shit and apologize. But in the end, if the person doesn't want a relationship or they want a reduced relationship with you, all you can do is let it go and grieve the loss of what that relationship used to be. Maybe it'll change in the future. Maybe it won't. But fundamentally, Janet, you are grieving the loss of a relationship that was. It might change in the future, but it may not. And you can, if you want to, you can go and ask her, hey, can we have our relationship back? If you want to do that, do that. And Janet said, yes, it's very sad. It's very, very sad. Yes, it is, Janet. And you need to be allowing yourself to grieve. We're back on grief again this evening, folks. But you have to allow yourself to grieve. And I recommend journaling. You need to be flushing out all your sadness and all your pain because it is hard to lose someone that we love. But Janet, you did the right fucking thing. You owned your shit. You owned your shit. And you know what? So you have a clean conscience. And that's the way to go through life. There's so many people, especially parents, whether they're step parents or, as you put it, quote unquote parent, because you're an auntie, right? All right. But you own your shit. And so many people in life don't want to own their shit. And I respect you for the fact that you did. Fuck that, man. There are enough people in this world that don't, and you did. And so even though your niece doesn't want the same amount of relationship she had, for what it's worth, and it may not be worth much, you won my respect, Janet. Because not enough people are doing what you do. And it wasn't even your child and you did it. I respect you for that. All right, people. Thank you so much. This has been really great. A nice spread of questions. Rob?
I'm sorry I started off the show with a negative comment. We've helped a lot of people tonight, and I feel much better. Thank you, Sven.
Yeah, no, this is, I always say.
That's a 5-cent apology, but still.
No. I don't feel like you started off with a negative comment. I thought you were just being playful. So.
Well, I was, but there was some feeling behind it. Somebody said a good line here. You got to feel it to heal it.
Feel it to heal it.
I like
That's
that.
it. And I have a client who likes to remind me and just remind himself in life, it's not about feeling better, but it's about getting better at feeling, which I thought is really interesting, which means flushing out all the crud and getting better at feeling, not just about feeling better, which is really, really interesting. Thanks for all the great questions, you guys. And to wherever you've been tuning in from today, whether it's across this ocean or that ocean or more than one ocean, it's been great having you here on behalf of my team, KC in the booth, Rob the Rocket. Have a kick-ass day.
The Badass Counseling Show is strictly copyrighted. No copies may be made without the express written consent of the Badass Counseling Show, LLC. The Badass Counseling Show is produced by Karen Camparelli and Robert H. Friedman. Executive producer Sven Erlandson. Original music by two-time Emmy Award-winning composer Trevor Morris. Have a kick-ass day.